Hey, hey, Blue Table fans! Sean here, and today we're going to take a look at a couple of these pages coming out for Warhammer 40k 8th edition. This is all the news, it's all you're hearing about. In a way, there's almost no point until the actual rule book comes out. But it is nice to have all of these sneak peeks on the run-up. I think it's preventing a lot of people from imploding out of the hobby, which I think is really nice. So I'm going to read this and insert my own comments. Tyranids have been a part of the fabric of Warhammer 40k universe for decades. For me, I love them from the first time I saw a Gene Stealer model many moons ago. Reading the fantastic stories about them in the books and imagining the overwhelming power they brought to bear was incredible and really brought them to life for me. They scour entire galaxies of life, absorbing it all and using it to create even more and deadlier Tyranid bioweapons. The terror they inspire is primal, the fear of being eaten. Fantastic. What a great opening paragraph. I started Tyranids in '98. And some of you may know the story. When I was in college, university, I guess they say in some countries, I owned a game shop back in Oregon, and I loved Eldar and Tyranids. In fact, that's really my start. I started with Eldar, then I bought some Tyranids, and the Tyranids are unusual in the 40k universe in that they're the really a true Xenos race. They're based on hexapedal, so 6 arms and legs, and they are really unusual, and they also come from outside of our own galaxy. On the table, and so let's continue. On the tabletop, Tyranids have had their ups and downs. Their most recent iteration has struggled to keep pace with some of the more powerful armies. And for many Tyranids players, the Winged Hive Tyrant with dual Devourers has been the unit carrying all the weight of the faction on its back. Its wings must be pretty tired. I am here to tell you that all that changes in the new edition. Thank goodness! That sounds great to me. I would love to see the Tyranids make a comeback. Their glory days really came in, I do believe it is 2010, where their army book went from 17 entries to 37 entries, and in fact a lot of the models that we know and love, like the Tyrannifex and the Spore Cyst, and I'm about to sneeze. Hold on. Thank you! Good gracious. Incredible. Okay, and that was really great. That was a good time for Tyranid players. However, it gave, because the models weren't published, it gave rise to all these alternate companies coming out with published models, like for the Tyrannifex, for the Turvagon. That model wasn't out when they first came out with the book. And so people had to convert them. There were some really terrible conversions out there, and we converted a ton of them. So anyway, he goes on to talk about the Swarm Lord, which is great, no criticism. Personally, I would have liked to have seen more of a mid-range unit rather than, you know, a powerhouse unit. But there you go. We get to see the stat line, and by the way, I didn't make my window large enough here, so you're only seeing part of it. On the right, you would just see some of the chart where he goes down in effectiveness with the wounds going down too. So movement is 9 inches, which is really fast on foot, and goes all the way down to 5 inches if he's severely weakened. Weapon skill 2 up, that's fantastic. That's reserved for really the elite of the elite. Toughness 6, strength goes from 8 and then chisels all the way down to 6. Attacks start at 7 and go all the way down to 5. Not really much to look at there. And so, of course, yes, he's really a fearsome adversary. So let's see. Now we get into something interesting to me, which is the idea of synergy between units. Let's read on. However, his ability that I have found to be the most useful is Hive Commander, which allows a friendly unit to move in the shooting phase. This is incredibly powerful for the sudden added mobility. For Ormagants, their blisteringly quick movement of 8 inches, this means a potential 16 inches move before attempting a charge. Or he could simply use it on himself to move up to 18 inches. And let's see here. That's just one combo out of dozens, too. Gene Stealers, who are the iconic Tyranid unit in my eyes, are absolutely lethal. Not only are they incredibly fast with an 8-inch move themselves, but they can also charge after advancing. With their shiny new 5+ invulnerable save, which incidentally came out of the Gene Stealer Cults Codex. Awesome. They're also handy, and I often cast Catalyst on them too because I am a mean man. But to really crank the power up to 11 with Gene Stealers, take them in units of 10 or more to trigger their Flurry of Claws special rule, bumping them up to 4 attacks each. Now, this is really reminiscent of Age of Sigmar. A lot of the basic units, they start getting bonuses if they are in larger units. So like zombies, for example, if there's 20 of them in a unit, they get, I think it is +1 to hit. If there's 30, I think they get something like another +1 to hit. So it encourages taking larger units, which, of course, if you look at the game as a whole, where's the balance between multiple small units, often abbreviated MSU, by the way, and, of course, taking much, much larger units. And I'm very interested to see this new rulebook and see how everything gets balanced out. Because once you start pulling the strings of the tapestry, there's really a lot that can start unraveling. And so for example, getting bonuses without actually having to pay points. So once you start giving bonuses to a unit without them paying the points for it, it creates an intrinsic sort of unbalance, unless there's something inside of the game itself which balances it out. Like, so for example, if they get an advantage for taking larger units, is there a disadvantage to taking a larger unit? Is it harder to move them around the board? Do they make a bigger target? Are they unwieldy in some way? Otherwise, you just end up with the opposite of multiple small units. You end up with larger, more powerful units. And by the way, I noticed in an earlier article, they wouldn't say the term Death Star. And I think that's because there's some kind of copyright on that term, so they couldn't really use it. So anyway, so to go on, combo this with a Broodlord, who is also utterly deadly in melee, to also give them +1 to hit in the fight phase. That means a full unit of 20 has 80 attacks, hitting on a 2+ with their Rending Claws, which bump up to AP -4 on a 6 to wound. Very few units in the game can withstand a full-strength Gene Stealer charge. -4 is a big deal. Even a las cannon is only -3. A power sword is -3. So -4 takes a Terminator save of 2+ and makes it a 6+, and then everything else just gets wiped out. But that's only on a roll of 6 to wound. So, but of course, with 80 attacks and let's say 60 of them at least hitting, you're talking about a full unit basically being wiped off the face of the map. And that's pretty cool. But what I really hope for in the new edition is that the character of the different pieces will be captured somehow. So Gene Stealer's not just having a certain stat line, not just having a ton of attacks, but having some sort of power where they can pop up out of nowhere, where they really fill a battlefield role rather than just have different sorts of stat lines and run towards each other. Now, of course, I bring that up, but the fact is the new edition's turning out to be really something of a very interesting, like, all the units are going to be able to work with each other in a very interesting way, just because of the basic rules. For example, vehicles being able to charge and things being able to charge out of transports. I can't even wrap my head around it, because it's what it's doing is it's unleashing all of these units. Instead of being restricted and saying, well, this can't do that because of this, it says, well, yeah, that can do that. It can do that too. Oh, and all the weapons fire. There's really something to be said for that. To me, that's really amazing. And it also makes me wonder with when they came out with the vehicles article, it was, hey, vehicles act like other units, and they can charge and they move like other units and so forth. But it makes me wonder how will vehicles be different, if anything. Maybe they'll be systematically the same across the board. Anyway, so here we go. Due to the changes in the way damage works, medium-sized Tyranids are much more enjoyable to play. A Tyranid warrior, thank goodness, the Tyranid warrior has been sort of not awesome for many editions now, mostly because of the auto kill thing. A Tyranid warrior with 3 wounds and toughness value of 4, same as before, is so much more durable than he was that it's incredible. I've been using them as midfield synapse providers who are both good with close range shooting and in melee. And I have to say, that's really nice. That was the problem with Tyranids, is that anything that could auto kill them was strength of 8, they were toughness 4, so they would get doubled out, would also happen to get rid of their armor save of 4+. So it made them really vulnerable to the slightly heavier weapons. And I think now you're going to see them with a lot more durability. But we shall see. And Synapse, what type of benefit does that provide? Nothing less than immunity to morale for friendly Tyranid units within range. And it's interesting, they didn't say 12 inches because 12 used to be the synapse of almost everything. Some of them went out to 6 or 18. So I have a feeling you'll see synapse at different ranges. Synapse, whatever. Come on, people. Bring on the hordes of little Gribblies. And lastly, just because I can't help myself, I think Pyrovores may be one of the most improved units of the game, and a unit of them in a Tyrannocyte has won me many a game. I gotta tell you, that's great. And even just some balanced stat lines to Tyranids are going to bring them back, because people love their Nids. And let me tell you, BTP has painted a ton load of Tyranids. Let's move on. By the way, we are at 12 minutes. We're going to 20 minutes. Warhammer 40k transports. Lock your safety harness and keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle, folks. Today we're looking at transports. Loads of you have been asking on our Warhammer 40k Facebook page. Oh, let's open this. Okay. For any new details, move that to the other page. Transports have some pretty fundamental changes in the new Warhammer 40k. Previously, they've been a bit of a mixed bag, and while usually quite good tool to keep your troops alive, which really, if you think about it, that's what transports are for. To get them across the battlefield, a lot of the time their main purpose ended up being just to soak up the first volley of enemy weapons shots meant for the squad inside. Well, guy, isn't that what transports are? Transports are almost universally better. They are more durable, faster, and many are better at shooting, notably with twin-linked now being the same as 2 weapons shooting at the same time. That's pretty amazing. All right, so units now disembark at the start of the movement phase. That's awesome, and a huge difference. But they can move, shoot, and fight normally. So none of this thing where the transport charges up 12, they disembark 6 inches or whatever, and then they charge in. And so this is really different. This is think ahead time to disembark at the beginning of the movement phase. But then the unit can move, shoot, and fight normally in that turn. This opens up loads of tactical options for both shooting and combat-themed armies, especially now that multiple units can share a single transport up to its capacity. Fantastic. I love it. Notably, you could disembark a unit and then move the transport around to shield that unit from a certain direction. And I think you're going to see a little bit of that. You're going to see shield walls of transports. And again, the old Tau Fish of Fury. And here we go. Oh, by the way, I'm on the Warhammer 40K Facebook page. Yeah, not much to... Wow, 82,000 people like this. 84,000 follow it. Well, I guess I'll like and follow it. Because everyone else was doing it. All right. Let's see here. I'm checking my messages. See if anybody has... Oh, Sam Stocks. So, by the way, Sam is one of the main guys over at Wargamer Online. Those guys are great, by the way. They got the magic. Yeah. Fun times. So when I was doing the video with them, so they do the video live, but people watching it, they don't see the video part of it. They only see like Sam's painting table. They don't see the faces and video of the other people. And it's a good thing because I didn't turn off my video when I was running an errand and when I was talking for the show on my phone. And so they got treated to looking at my ear. Fortunately, my oral hygiene was really good that day. So guys, let's move on. Here's an example of one such transport, the Harlequin Starweaver. Okay, yes, I'm cutting this off again. I wish I could move this little window. Okay, Starweaver has movement of 16. Ah, amazing. And so, again, going back to that thing where vehicles, transports, you have to disembark before the transport moves. That's pretty enormous. It means to really get that move, to really get them up, you have to spend a turn inside that vehicle. So, I don't know. We'll see how it plays. Strength 5, Toughness 5, 6 wounds, leadership, 3 attacks. So, and that's how they work. So instead of tank shocking, you move up and you actually charge in with the vehicle. So Strength 5, 3 attacks, not too bad. It can work out, and a save of 4 up. I've noticed a lot of these open top vehicles, that's what you're looking at, is a save of 4 up. And they're really teasing us because who cares about the Harlequin Starweaver? Show us the Land Raider. But that's good showmanship. Save some of the best for last. And it is more durable than it is today. And okay, let's just keep going. Being open top to the passengers in, it can shoot normally even after that huge 16-inch move. That is tremendous. Awesome. And still shoot pistols into units that are in close combat with their transport in their own shooting phase. I'm just really trying to come to terms with all of this. I got to tell you that I think it may herald a golden age for those light transports, trucks, Dark Eldar, Venoms, and Raiders, and that kind of stuff. It doesn't go all transports way, though. Being inside an exploding vehicle is still bad news. Models inside a wrecked transport will now die on the roll of a 1. By the way, I love that. It's so much less rolling. Oh, what a relief. Because before it was like, move this in, and then it was only wrecked and not destroyed. So now they get wounded on a 4-up. So let's roll for that. Okay, 5 wounds. All right, now let's make our armor saves. So it's all this like rolling and looking stuff up, and now it's just you roll a dice for everybody on there, and on a roll of a 1, they're out. So I don't know if that means they take a wound or if that model just dies. It goes on. This isn't so bad for units like Orcs and Guardsmen, who were used to taking a few casualties when losing their transport. But it's going to hurt a bit more for elite units, so be sure to put valuable units in your most durable transports like Land Raiders and Battle Wagons. I gotta tell you, to me, that's interesting because, yeah, it's interesting because Before, it was like if something had a 2-up save, there was almost no way that it was going to die or even take a wound from the transport being destroyed. Like a 1 in 12 chance, a 1 in 24 chance, something like that. But of course an orc would have like a 33% chance of dying. And so, I'm still recording.